Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's TechBan, and I'm here to help you get into the game. This is going to be a primer on MMORPGs. This is some simple elements that, while not necessarily new and revolutionary, are things you need to know before you get going to really get the most out of your gaming experience. Alright, so you've downloaded the game. Now it's asking you to pick a server, shard, whatever the title may be for that particular game. Servers come in many flavors. The big four are player versus environment, or PvE, player versus player, or PvP, role playing, and role playing player versus player. If it's just labeled as role playing, odds are it's a role playing player versus environment server, or RPPVP. This is not to be confused with an RPPVP server. Try saying that 5 times fast. While these only sound like a bunch of letters, the difference is major. In player versus environment, the enemy team cannot attack you unless you give them permission to by turning on player versus player. That isn't the case in a player versus player server. Once you leave the safe zones, you are going to get into a fight. Or I should say, you can get into a fight. If you pick the side that has the lower population, this can be problematic. But having a good group of friends at your back can even this out relatively quickly. So you've picked your server, now it's time to pick your side. Each game does this a little differently. There's no good versus evil in MMOs. It's often just two ideologies that clash. For example, this is Rift. In Rift, you have the Defiance, who believe that technology will help them save their world, as compared to the Guardians, who believe that holding strong to their faith and the Vigil will save them all. This is technology versus faith at its finest, and there is no good or evil. One side isn't an evil side. They're both just trying to survive. I want to cover this here really fast because this is another element you should know, but it applies to so many games that I want to just do it once and get it over with. In most MMOs, this is referred to as the holy trinity of a group. This is tanking, healing, and damage per second, or DPS, sometimes just called damage dealers. Some games, a lot of newer ones you see this in, have a fourth group called the supports. I will cover them briefly here, but I'll go more in depth in the games. Tanks, as shown here, are the big beefy guys in the front. Yes, I know he's not that beefy. Work with me here. Their job is to get the threat from the enemies and bring it onto himself. But that's not all he is. A tank's secondary job is really important. A tank is often the leader of a group. Since he decides what you're going to fight and where, he's the guy they put in charge. He's the leader. He chooses and he calls it. A lot of their abilities involve allowing them to avoid damage, minimize their damage, or just even recover their health. It's also important that a tank knows what he's doing. If he knows an enemy can attack an area in front of him, he needs to make sure that area in front of him is not pointing at the rest of his buddies. There's a lot to being a tank, but it can be a really great job when you're staring up at the big guy and realize, oh yeah, I've ticked him off. You mad, bro? Next up is healers. Healing comes in so many flavors. I could probably do a whole video series on it, but we'll cover the basics here. A healer's job, as the name would suggest, is to heal the team and keep everyone alive. His primary focus is the tank. Healing comes in many forms: single target, single shielding target, healers, healers that heal over an area, healers that heal over time. There's just so much, but they all do the same job. It's important that he recognizes what his cooldowns are. If he has a move that can really boost his healing for a period of time, he needs to know when he needs to save it and use it. Healing is as much an art as it is a science. You can punch in the numbers all you want, but it's going to come down to the guy at the keyboard to really make a healer sing. Rounding out the package is the damage dealers. These guys are designed to hit the enemy fast, hit them hard, and hit them frequently. Had to think about that one for a second. Damage dealers come in many flavors: melee, range, caster, so many different versions. Again, another video series. But overall, a damage's job is to make sure he's not standing in something that will hurt him, that he's helping out when possible. You may have to get off the target and do a secondary objective to help make sure things run smoothly. But in the end, damage dealers are critical to a team. There may be more of them, but without good DPS, doesn't matter how good the tank and the healer are, if the target's not going down, it's not going down. Rounding out the package is the supports. These are not in every game, and if it is in the game, I will cover it in the intro video to that game. Supports can do everything from enhancing their team, referred to as a buffing support, inhibiting the enemy team, a debuffing character, or just playing as a sort of secondary healer, somebody who deals damage to heal, or just generally can deal damage and heal on the side. These sort of combinations lead to a lot of fun and can give you a lot of options. So before you start, make sure you know what you're picking. A lot of times they'll give you a description of what the class is capable of, and almost every class, depending on what game you're playing, is capable of being damaged, but not all can tank or heal. Some can, some can't. Generally speaking, you can do 2 roles. In some cases, like Rift, many groups can do more than 2 and do 1 in many, many styles, but that's another story for another day. Oh, 1 second. I'm just watching my clock here, and it seems we're running out of time, but before I head out, if you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you liked what you saw and want to see more, please hit subscribe to know I'm doing a decent job. If I made a mistake, please let me know in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you. Other than that, this has been my basic primer. I hope it helps the new players, people who've not been in MMOs before, really get into it. Because if you don't find a good server or find a server that can help, it can be problematic. Before I forget, something else you need to take into account when you're picking your server: population. You nearly forgot this. A high population server can have a queue to it, as shown here. This means there's so many people on the server who want to get on the server, they're having to put you in line. Some servers, this can get ridiculous. I've heard of servers that get really packed and have queues upwards of 45 minutes. Also, make sure you are careful when picking a server that says Oceanic, because this includes multiple countries, not all of which may speak English. You can say it's primarily English, but you'll still find people who speak other languages natively. Recommended servers will help you, are generally suggested because it gives you a firm base to work with, as well as a newer server, a server where you can get in and it's not already set in stone, which is something you have to take into account. Low population servers generally mean there's less fighting for resources and a little more elbow room, but also means finding a group can take a lot longer. I nearly forgot that. I just wanted to make sure I got that in there, but I'm running out of time, so this has been Tech Bandit, and I hope to see you in the game.